First, my name is William OK. Okay. Um, so today's video is called "The Sun is Contracting, Not Expanding." Well, here's what evolutionists believe. They believe the sun is expanding. Now, what does the word expand mean? It means to grow. Okay, right? So, evolutionists, they believe that the sun will will be 1% bigger in just 100 million years, and they believe that that the sun may become a red giant star in 5 billion years in the future, which will that will swallow Mercury and Venus and Earth and Mars, and then the sun will just and then they said that the sun will just go into nova and then turn into a white dwarf, and then in 1 quadrillion years it will just turn into a black dwarf, and then the sun is, and that's the end of the sun. But according to them, but maybe they're wrong, because that's not what creationists believe. You know, that's not what we believe. We believe that the sun will be because we believe the sun is not growing. Maybe the sun is not expanding, it's contracting. Now, what does contract mean? Shrinking. Okay. So that means you present it. Let me start my slideshow to show you. The sun is contracting, not expanding. Is the sun contracting? Yes. Does the sun get smaller? You can see it's a question mark. Here, horizontal diameters of the sun from 1840 to 1953. These are annual average taken by John Eddy and Aram Bornazanian from Royal Greenwich Observatory data. The horizontal diameter appears to shrink 0.1% per century. Now, the sun is losing 5 million tons of matter per second. Not gaining more matter, it's losing 5 million tons of matter per second. If the sun was, this means that the sun would be the sun would just be touching the earth if it was it would be a few million years old, and it'll probably be a supergiant if it was billions of years old. The earth won't, yeah. So it means the sun can't be billions of years old. According to creationists, it can't. So you can see right here, if it's the sun it's a few million years old, it will touch the Earth. But the sun is about only 6,400 years old. That's why the sun's not that big. Now I'll get to this later. I want to add to full screen. Okay, so right here, it says right here. So right here it says on creationwiki.org. It says right here that the sun is shrinking at such a rate that it will disappear in completely in 100,000 years. This could be impossibly large and hot in distant past if the sun is millions of years old or billions. Okay, it says talk oranges. It's correct at the point any significant shrinking of the sun would do gravity, but would be effectuated by the gravitational collapse, where the sun's only source of energy. Since he will build up its a tendency towards gravitational collapse, there would be a suffice variation in the collapse rate, so that the collapse rate would not be as in a uniform manner, an estimate of the sun's maximum age. But that's just a very short article. But if you want to read a longer article about this right here, this is the sun is shrinking. Got right here. The Yang-Fung-Sun paradox is wrong too, because the sun would have been bigger if it was billions, because the sun would have been bigger billions of years ago. Here, I'll just put this right here. Okay, I'm not going to read this part today. I'll read it another day. Okay. But it says right here it says, since the publication of this article in 1980, studies of the sun's size is driven by different results. Currently, scientists are not united enough concerning any broad scale tenets of the support age. The step is based on the size of the sun. In his 1988 article, The Young Fate of the Sun Paradox and the Age of the Solar System, Dr. Danny Faulkner provided an updated perspective that's more around solar data. In other studies to provide evidence of the use of the solar system Earth and cited of the evidence of the Earth and indicate recent creation. Okay, observations. Does the size of the sun change over the years? Recently, John Eddy, Harvard Smith Center of Astrophysics, have had two observations of the Boulder that are in Xenia. The mathematician of S. Cross Earl in Boston has the sun evidence of contract 0.1 per century. Was the instinctive age rate of the 5 per feet per hour, and the sun diameter is close to 1 million miles. That is the shrinkage of the sun of the knowledge over for hundreds or even thousands of years. There is no cause of the alarm for us, which our descendants for centuries have, because the sun shrinks so slowly. Yet the sun is actually appear to shrink. But yet the data Eddy and Rosenian examined a span 400-year period of the solar observation, so that this is a shrinkage of the sun, because small a period continual. Well, the problem is that we shouldn't have the sun anymore if it was billions of years old. That's what I try to tell people anyway. We shouldn't, because it's contracting, not expanding. Here's a petition about this. What does the shrinkage of the sun have to do with creation and evolution? The sun was larger in the past, but but it is now 0.1% per century. A creationist who may believe that they was created approximately 6,000 years ago. It was very little, so it has very little to worry about. The sun would have happened only 6% larger at creation than it is now. However, a rate of change of the solar radius remained constant. 100,000 years ago, the sun would have been twice the size it is now. Well, that's not great, because it means 100,000 years. It means years ago. That means the Earth would have been too hot. It won't even be in the Goldilocks zone anymore. If it was the size it was now. And they believe this will happen plus evolutionists believe this will happen in the future. No, this would have happened in the past, because it's shrinking. That's why. One could hardly imagine that any life could exist under the altered conditions. Because I don't know what they believe anyway. And the 1,000 years we made out of dealing evolutionary timescales. Well, what do they believe about this? The problem is that if the sun has doubled in size, the Earth, meaning the polar will be 4 times stronger as well. Google doesn't say. It doesn't say when. So it means that in 100 years ago, the the sun will be not in the Goldilocks zone because it'll be the twice the size because the sun will be twice the size it is now. That's what I'm trying to say anyway. But that's what I'm trying to say anyway. But let's keep reading. Now, how far back in the past you must go to the sun so large the surface is so large that it touches the surface of the earth. The solar radius changes at 2.5 feet per hour, half of the 5 feet hour per change of the solar diameter. The distance from the sun to the earth is 93 million miles, and there are 5,280 feet per 1 mile in feet of 1 mile. And assuming by range and time reasoning, the rate of the shrinkage is not changed with time. Then the surface of the sun, when I've touched the surface of the earth, the time that passed equal to. Or approximately 20 million BC. However, the time scales of the organic evolution range from 100 million years to 2,000 million years, which is 2 billion years. It is amazing that evolutionary development, except for the last 20 million years, it took place on the planet inside the sun. By 20 million BC, all the evolution will occur except the final stage of the evolution of the primate into man. Must remember, the 20 million year BC date is the extreme limit on the time scale of the Earth's existence, which the time which the Earth will first emerge from the shrinking sun is 20 million BC. A more reasonable limit is a 100,000 year BC is a limit set of which time sun should have double its present size. A further explanation of this needed of the supposition of the rate of the shrinkage of the sun is constant over 100,000 years or over 20 million years. The shrinkage of rate centuries ago would be determined by the balance of solar forces. The centrifugal energy would have homogeneous spherical sun varieties inversely with the solar radius. The rate of the shrinkage would have been greater than the past it is now, in the time which the sun was twice its present size, okay, is less than 100,000 BC. The time which the surface of the sun would touch the earth is much less than 20 million BC. Therefore, the such constant shrinkage is conservation assumption. Now, what about the solar energy? The shrinkage of the sun greatly alters when we believe the energy of the source than the sun. The sun shrinks because of its self-conditional attraction and compresses itself. It eats itself. This is then the beta in the form of the solar radiation, i.e., sunlight. It will be 2.5 feet per hour contraction the surface is sufficient to liberate all energy that comes from the sun, and I'll crudely estimate the assuming of the interior sun is uniform. The known formula of the creation of the sun potential energy of two masses m and m distance as apart is u g m g double mr and r4/r, where g equals 6.6 times 10 to the negative 11th power, gm force that's kg2, the gravitational energy of the sun's mass, m's directly of the mass. M's is u equals minus gms 2 4/r, whereas the r is the radius of the sun. The solar power produced if the sun shrinks at the rate of v equals r. It is 5. P equals u 4/t. GMS 2 4/r2. R 4/t equals GMS. V equals 2v 4/r2. The mass of the sun is 2 times to the 30th power kilograms of the radius of the sun, 7 times 10 to the 8th power meters of the 2.5 feet hour rate of the shrinkage of radius of the sun is 2 times 10 to the negative 4th power in meters per second in metric units. The power formula gives original solar power in 1 times 10 to the 29th power watts, and the potential gravitational power hundreds of the times more than 4 times 10 to the 26th power watts of the power actually produced by the sun. This figure overestimates because the sun is actually far from uniform. The massive interior from the sun protected by the outer layers of the sun. Only those with low density outer layers only thought to contract. Even so, there, depending of the gravitational contraction energy, which is available to account for all the large part of the sun's energy. Now, stellar evolution shaken. Well, that's because stellar evolution is a hoax. That's why there's no such thing as stellar evolution. Stars don't have a life cycle. That's why. And that's just the reason. And here's the reason why. So one thing is certain: some of the sun's energy comes from its conditional self-collapse. Therefore, all the energy comes from thermonuclear fusion, and the discovery gradient alters the calculations evolution of the sun, because all these calculations are due practically 100% of the sun's energy over the past 5 billion years of thermonuclear fusion. The discovery that the sun is shrinking may prove of the downfall of the accepted theory of solar evolution. All accepted theories of the evolution of stars are based on the assumption of their nuclear fusion is energy of the source of the stars. This is the assumption certified of our own star, the sun, and certified of the stars too. The regular description of the evolution of universe, and then maybe at stake. With the stakes that high, it is no wonder experimental evidence for the shrinkage of the sun is explained away by the evolutionists. Evolutionists claim the sun is probably undergoes temporary shrinkages of the expansions of small fluctuation oscillations of overall regular evolutionary development. They point other cyclic solar occurrences such as the 11-year sunspot cycle of the surface of the sun. This claim is made despite evidence of that the shrinkage rate of the sun has remained essentially constant over the past 100 years, and they would have very accurate measurements on and been made on the size of the sun. Less accurate observable roads spanning the past 400 years and indicate the sun's shrinkage rate remained the same in the past 400 years. Now, historically speaking, scientists may not have always attributed to the energy source of the sun thermonuclear fusion. Prior to the discovery of thermonuclear fusion, the homos predict that the energy of the sun supplied by the glacial collapse of the sun. This model was accepted until the theory of evolution began to dominate the scientific scene. The homos explanation was discarded because it would not provide the vast time span demanded by the theory of the organic evolution on the Earth. The subdued theory was introduced by Bethe in the 1930s, precisely because thermonuclear fusion was only known energy source would last over the vast times required by evolution. Science may now the first of disproving the such an evolutionary model of the sun. So here's a conclusion, guys. The charge of the size of the sun over the past 400 years is important of the study of the origins. Over 100,000 years, these changes would have included so much that life any kind of the earth would have very difficult, if not possible. Thus, all life on earth must be less than 100,000 years old. The sun, 20 million years ago, it would have been so large that it would have engulfed the earth. The earth cannot be more than 20 million years old. These states as upper limits the rule of any possibility of evolution requiring hundreds of millions of years. However, the tiny change would have been occurred in the sun during the biblical time since creation. It would have been so small it will go to almost unnoticed. Thus, the changes in the sun will be constant in the earth's recent creation. The changes detected in the sun call into question the accepted of thermonuclear fusion energy source for the sun. This is in turn questions of the entire thermonuclear structure upon which the evolutionary theory of astrophysics is built. So that's how I know. Now we know why. Now you know why. The creationist side teaches that the sun teaches that the sun is contracting and not expanding. And that's what the Bible, and that's what we believe, and that's what the Bible teaches. So yeah, the evolutionists are wrong. The sun is not growing, the sun is not expanding, it's contracting, shrinking. No. Get it? Okay. And I'm afraid I can't see dislikes. I can't see the dislikes on my YouTube channel anymore. So you can still dislike the video if you want anyway. I just won't be able to see it anyway. Because it's in private. Anyway, I'll just delete the comment if you're gonna say negative things about my YouTube channel anyway, and block you. Because I don't want to talk to you anyway if you're just going to debate me on stuff and not believe what the Bible says. Anyway. Anyway, so do you want to know how to go to heaven? You stupid atheist. Right here. The point of evolution is to damn souls to hell. When you go to heaven, it's believe all Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone and grace on Jesus Christ alone. Once you are saved, by easy ways is the truth, and you can't lose your salvation. So remember, by easy ways that salvation, it's easy to just believe in Jesus Christ for salvation. So. So I would say this: go away if you don't like my videos. Okay, that's all I can say about that because I don't want to debate you. Okay, I have no time for debates. Okay, I don't need debates on the Bible. Okay, I don't. Okay, we don't need evidence that the Bible is true. Okay, there is a lot of evidence. There is already a lot of evidence that the Bible is true. Already, anyway. I can't prove to you now. I can't prove to you that the Bible is true because I believe it by faith. Okay, you know. Well, guess what? It's evolution that uses the word imagination. I'll talk more about that in a different video. They said they imagine you're an ape or fish or rock millions of years ago. Okay, but I don't believe in it. I believe the Bible. So yes, humans produce humans. God created the sun on day 4 of His creation week, and then the sun. When did the sun start contracting? Well, when Adam and Eve sinned. I think when Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's when the sun started contracting. And that's it. And that's all I can say about that. So the next video is the 100th Bible podcast video. I'll probably talk about languages this video. And some other things. Yeah, I might talk about that next. I'm probably gonna talk about that next video. I'll talk about the moon in my 101st video. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to go right now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you there. Bye.